You're facing Building, right? You have a 3 minute match. What was the process like in WCW? Because I guess if you were in WWE, it's very kind of regimented. You're told exactly what you're going to do and where the direction is or whatever. Whereas in WCW, like, what was the process? Did you just turn up, you saw a board, that was what you were doing, and you go?
That's basically what happened in WWE also. You know, you have a certain regiment that you follow. You show up. There's a board, a couple of guys' names on it. There's a link for the match. You work out the match. Period. End of story. I don't question anything.
Are you having people? So say that happens, and you get Goldberg versus Steve Rio or whatever it is. Are you going to some guys and they're not happy about having to work a 3 minute match and be at the end?
I think there were a lot of people that were unhappy, but at the end of the day, they didn't understand the big picture. It wasn't reality. Okay, if it was reality, and then we dropped then when the bell rang, it would be the last man standing, and it could possibly be the same way that it was, But hey man, I guess one trying to ask. I was 173-0, and I won every one of them, but I wasn't any more important than the people who laid down for me. Okay, so. If you go in with that mindset, it's a team effort. There has to be a guy winning and there has to be a guy losing. Just so happens that I was the guy winning 99.9% of the time. So things were great for me. So it was easy for me to say, yeah, I showed up and I did what was told. But yeah, along the way, there were a number of guys that didn't like it too much. But at the end of the day, if they showed their disdain during the match, I always had the last say.
Because I guess what I'm getting at is, we're famous in WCW for having shorter matches that were very high intensity, very high power, whatever. When are you part of deciding that that's the best way to go? When are you guys that? Because that was what you became kind of famous for, because that was what worked for the Goldberg character. How is that decided? Is that something that you're collaborating with?
Well, they give you a time limit. And you work the storyline based upon that time limit. If it was more than 3 minutes, they had to get out of the ring and to chase them for a little while, because it didn't make much sense for us to be in the ring and be not a kibble. It's just that was the character. That's Brock. It's the same gimmick, and it worked. And people saw that it worked, and the business saw that it worked, and the management saw that it worked. So why not continue to do it time after time? It got a little stale after a while, but you got to throw a wrench in it. And there were I always gave my input, but my input was not creative. My input was competitive. So if they wanted to get to a certain place, I would give them my impression of how we should get there. It didn't mean that that's okay. I wasn't the guy that decided the tone of the match. I just decided what to do to get to that tone. Does that make any sense?
And because Dime Dallas Page said in an interview last year that when you guys had the match in Halloween Havoc in 1998, that he and you kind of wanted to prove a point in a way that, like, Goldberg can go more than 5 minutes. It's not that you can't, it's just that's what the character decides. And then you guys are going to have this match. It's the main event of Halloween Havoc. Warrior and Hogan had the worst ring match of all time. But, you guys have the main event. The first one was great. You guys have this main event, and it's people looking forward to it, and then the pay-per-view cuts off. And you guys have this brilliant match.
That was his fault, because he came to me with a 14-page match and it turned out to be like 45 minutes. But, Dallas, like I said, Dallas did a lot of things that were very unselfish, and he's known for that, and he's known for a guy helping the business as much as he could. Excuse me. And Dallas wanted me to spear him 14 times in that match. I'm not kidding. 14 times. I might have been 15. But I was like, Dallas, man, come on, dude. I've only speared guys once and they're dead. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't mean that I'm trying to be tough. It just means that per the storyline, maybe like 4 or something, not 14. But hey, I learned so much from Dallas, and we did try to prove a point. The fact is that everybody throughout my career has said, oh, he's a 2-3 move guy. And when I went back for this latest run, but I was told to be that. And each time that my repertoire is limited, I hear crap from everybody. Oh, he can only do 2 or 3 things. Man, I got more moves than people would ever know. But less is more. Why give them everything when the Giant and I could go main event in house shows all across America, and the bell rings, the bell doesn't ring. He comes out, they introduce him, he's smoking a cigarette. The referee tells him to stop smoking a cigarette. He picks the referee up by his throat. My music hits, I spear him, I jackhammer him before the bell even rings, and I win the match. People were on their feet all across America. There wasn't one place that we went where people were not on their feet going nuts. Why? Because they wanted to see me pick up a 520-pound guy, right? That's pretty cool. We did it night after night after night because we didn't have to do any more. Let the smaller guys go out and chain wrestle. You guys have seen that for 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years. But you haven't seen somebody go out like it's throwing a sacrifice to the lions. And that's what I was. And that was different. And I thought it was kind of cool.
And then with the DDP thing, you guys went to Puna Point. You had this great match. Some people say that is the best match of your career. Some people say that's
because I knocked myself out during the match, but I don't remember that. He made me do the things that I don't even remember now.
But I mean, and this isn't a political question. It's more, you had. Are you aware once you've had the match? We had a great match there. Are you aware of that? And when you get back, did they kind of say, and we kind of went off the air? Because the next night they showed it on Nitro, they end up showing them.
I go out and I do my job. It's not my job to get it all in before the video. It didn't affect me. It didn't ever bother me. It was what it was. They told me to do a job. I went out and I did it to the best of my ability. If it's not on television, it's not my fault. I just got to react to it. And the next night or the night after that, when they ask me to do something, I give my best, and hopefully that's good enough. I can only control so much. And at that time, I never tried to control anything more than just my job. There were many people who had ulterior motives, and there were many people that did their job to get to a certain point and do something else. Not me. I was a means to an end. I got a match. I'm going to do it to the best of my ability, and then I'm going home, and I'm going to rest, and I'm going to train, and I'm going to eat, and I'm going to get ready to do it again. That's my work ethic. That's what I do.
But they do show the match on Nitro in full, so everybody gets to see it and see that you're not a 3-move guy. You can go 25 minutes or whatever it ended up being. The question, if I don't ask this question, everybody in the building is going to be angry at me for not asking it. Starcade 98, Kevin Nash, he did that to end the streak. When that happens, you've said already, you're there to do your job, you're not apolitical, you're just doing what you do. Is there a concern or a frustration about, not about losing, because everybody has to lose eventually, but how, because I'll give you an example. Right now in WWE, Asuka, she had the undefeated streak, and since WrestleMania it has been not great for her.
Well, they did the undefeated streak to make sure that a girl beat my streak. That's why they did it. It was a joke. You guys supposed to laugh.
But like the point, so with Asuka, it's like Asuka loses this feat, and she's kind of been meaningless ever since, which is a shame because she's one of the best. And
I could put a lot into that,
Yeah. So what I'm trying to get at is not to be negative. I'm just trying to get to the guy behind that. You lose the streak. Are you concerned? Is there a game plan for it? Right. Okay. Look, we're going to end the streak tonight, but here's the plan going forward to keep the Goldberg character going.
I was pissed because it was on my birthday. I'm serious as I can be. It was on my birthday so in all honesty, that's the only reason why I was pissed off. It's not my job to do, it's not my job to police the tone of the character and decide where it goes. It's my job to follow directions. Did it hurt? Did it kind of suck? Yeah, I did, but it was what it was. I got to pick my head up. I got to come in the next day, and I got to do what I got to do to get back to the point where I was and even higher. And I trusted everybody, in the office. That was, at the end of the day, the most important thing going, because it's a business and we're all in it together, and we're all in it to make money. And so it's a team effort. So I do my job, you do yours, and hopefully at the end of the day, the game plan is great. We all prosper.
Now, the folklore of WCW is that the finger poke of doom was the end, and it's far from the truth, because it wasn't. The ratings were still big for months. The pay-per-view still did really well. And you were one of the guys that kind of was still able to be you. A lot of other people suffered or had to change in ways that wasn't working, but for a long time you were still Goldberg and all that kind of stuff. I guess my question is, was there a certain point or a certain kind of period of time where you felt it feels that we're really dropping here in terms of where we were, where you were 6 months ago? Because WCW for years led to was number one. You're in the cover of TV Guide, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the only real point that I can remember knowing that ultimately we were a ship that was sinking was when I was hurt after I busted the limousine up, and I'm watching Nitro from Panama City, Florida, and it was horrible. It was the last show we had. It was crushing, but I really can't remember prior to that, the ship sinking, taking on water at a certain point, because it was kind of a gradual downhill slide, but the plug that was pulled out of the boat happened in Panama City.
And then a polarizing figure in wrestling who came to WCW's Vince Russo when he came out in October of 1999. And I remember, I think I was like 14 at the time when I was watching WCW. You watched both. And there was this excitement that this guy, to the public who'd been very instrumental in WWF and their big success was now coming to WCW. And things might be, getting competitive again. What were your experiences of working with Vince Russo? Does he get too bad at a rap for what he did in WCW? Was he pleasant enough to you and you liked what he did? How do you feel?
I couldn't stand Vince Resum. I still don't like him. Well, I don't, and maybe it's unfair because I'm not giving him the second chance and I won't do his podcast and I don't want to talk to him. But we all make decisions in our life, and the negativity that he brought to the business and to my life, maybe unfairly, is something I don't ever want to deal with again. So I don't have enough time for the people that I love in the world, and I'd much rather be with you guys for 2 hours and talk to him for 2 minutes. Maybe I should give him a second chance, but I just don't feel like.
I don't think we should. Yeah, you really don't think we should. No, but let me ask you just one more thing about that to just kind of clarify, because when you listen to your story, it is kind of like, it's quite refreshing. Because like for me as an interviewer, I'm kind of going, okay, let's really get into WCW, and you're like, I didn't know. Yeah. So it's like it's hard to pick onto something. So with Russo, why is he?
I thought he was originally a plant from WWE, WWF. I thought he came down to ruin our business. I did, I swear to you. And I thought his stuff was a little campy, a lot campy, and I wasn't a campy guy. And, but let's just talk about what a good human being I am. And I'm not going to toot my horn much up here, but the night that I had to spear him in that cage, I wouldn't come out until he put that helmet on, okay? Because I knew I was coming with it. And I was not leaving anything to the imagination. So I spared his life that night by letting him put the helmet on. So that's just how nice I am.
And, there's a lot of things I think that he did that some people just are unwilling to forgive. Whether it's putting it down on David Arquette, who, to be fair to David Arquette,
it's awesome. I was just with them after the Hall of Fame.
But he gave the money that he made from that to Brian Pillman and Owen Hart's right?
David Arquette's a great guy. He gets a bad rap. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time when the wrong decision was made. But David Arquette has a love for the business of professional wrestling that's unparalleled by many celebrities, by any celebrity I've ever seen. And for that, I love the guy. And he brought me into his home, and we're friends. And I love that dude. He's a good guy, and the passion that he has for the business alone should get the respect from every wrestling fan in the world.
And this is just a personal experience. I think it fits in well to the conversation. So I would watch WCW. Did people here watch WCW in the late 90s? So I tuned to WCW maybe the end of '99. That was my kind of like I'm out. And whenever I would tune back in, maybe once every 6 weeks, I'd go, oh, I'll see what's going on. The one thing that was still great was Goldberg. I'm not sucking up to you. That was the one that was still there. It was like the one remnant that you remembered that you liked. And then I remember for me, the thing that I was like, I'm out, was the heel turn that they did with you. And it felt bad watching it because it felt like it was just this.
It didn't feel nearly as bad watching it as it did doing it. And, for years, I've taken a bad rap, and justifiably so, because, the good professional wrestlers are willing to do things to keep the fans on their seat, to be the antithesis of what they thought was going to happen. And I'm telling you, and I've said it before, I would have been the biggest, baddest, meanest sonbitch heel that ever walked the planet. I guarantee you. But that would not allow me to be the superhero for kids. And that is the most important thing and the reason why I got in the business. And that's the biggest thing that I took out of the business. And so my heel turn lasted one night because I told him to shut it. I wasn't going to do it again. So, it is what it is. Call me a bad wrestler, but I'd rather have a big heart than be a guy that, did things just because of the pop.
The Panama City thing the last night in WCW, and I think you'd got injured maybe like 3 months, 4 months before the end, so you weren't there at that point. And we did some shows with Jim Ross, who were in Limerick and Galway in Ireland. That fella got hot, it did. And so, they're in your country. Why is that? Okay, I can't do vocal call. I can't do this stuff here. Okay. Anyway, we're bringing Jim Ross to Dublin at some point. Calm down. It's okay. But don't tweet us about it. But we bring Jim Ross and we're talking about the invasion thing with him. And we did this interview with him. We're trying to talk about the invasion, and it didn't go as well as I wanted it to go. I'm feeling like, what did I do wrong with it? And then I was talking to the guy that Jim was with, and he took me aside and he said, do you know the reason that didn't go as well as you wanted it to? I said, why? He said, because you're trying to bring up a failure of his and expose it and talk about it. And that's not how I see it, but that's how he sees it. And one of the biggest, I guess, failures of the invasion was you not being there. Everybody wanted you. Goldberg and Austin was the match. We can pretend it was anything else, but that was the match. Sting and Rock would have been nice, but it wasn't. Goldberg and Austin was the one. So obviously you have a contract with Time Warner, and you're going to keep that contract because you have a brain. So why would you get that?
My contract was guaranteed. I didn't get 50 cents on the dollar like everybody else, or most everybody else. And if my dad ever taught me one thing, it's to be a smart businessman. And so I went out, I healed up. I wasn't 100% at the time, and I wasn't going to come back. I wasn't going to come back, period, until I started walking the streets, and kids would just say, Goldberg, when you come back to wrestling, you and Austin, you and this guy and that guy. Excuse me, and I had to get a shot. I did it for that.
In the meantime, you debuted March 2003. W7 was out March 2001 for 2 years. Do you and JR have a conversation at that time where he kind of says, because he did say to us, he said, I would tell guys, take the money away. Don't.
No, I wouldn't need JR to tell me that. No, I knew, man. I'd done all the partying. I'd been the celebrity. I'd been all that stuff in football. I wasn't at wrestling. I wasn't there to be that guy. I wasn't going to stop being a businessman. Because once you do that, they use it against you. It's like anywhere else, in any other endeavor. You show weakness and people capitalize on it. I ain't showing weakness. It's not happening. You know, I have an affinity for animals and kids, and that's my weakness. You know, being a good person. If that's a weakness, and I'm sorry, I think it's a strength. You know,
I'm not talking money, but like, was the WWE deal in 2003? Was that easy to put together? Was it easy for you guys to converse and go, okay, we want you to bring you in, blah blah blah? Was it easy or was it not? And if it wasn't easy, why wasn't it easy?
I don't really remember, you know, because I let my agent do that.
You famously only had a 1 year deal.
I had a 1 year deal because I wanted to try it. I didn't want to commit.
What was holding you back from the commitment?
Well, let's just say that there was a guy named Steve Austin, and he was like one of their big guys, and there was a guy named Goldberg, and I was like one of the competitors' big guys, and I really didn't trust in that they would take care of what Goldberg represented. I think that's further validated by 2 weeks after me getting there. They put a freaking wig on me. You don't do that to a guy who eats people. You diminish his character. That's just my thought process.
It reminds me of before Sting went to WWE, he did a TNA DVD. Have you guys seen this clip this Sting said where he talked about somebody had said, why did you ever go to WWF? And he said he watched a segment on Raw with The Rock and Booker T, and it was like during the invasion, they're back to back, and they bump into each other, and they turn around and The Rock says, who are you? Yeah. And he just went, no.
I mean, that's a lot of it too. There's no doubt. You know, I'm not going to let them diminish for their programming ratings. I'm not going to let them diminish what we work so hard for.
And obviously you
look at Goldberg, right? Why the hell would I go to a place that did a Goldberg that's going to put me in a wig? That, you know, I mean, come on.
were you able to, I don't mean this condescendingly, but were you able, because you're on top of the world when they do the Goldberg thing, you know, you're like,
I still hate him too. No, he's cool, man.
Were you able to see the funny side of Goldberg? Because I feel
I was not able to see the funny side until it took me years ago. I swear, I took it too seriously, way too seriously. So if anybody says, yeah, Goldberg took wrestling too seriously, yes, I did in that respect, because I could not stand that. I thought, you know, I'm not a big fan of copy, you know, as the sincerest form of flattery. I didn't look at that. I didn't look at that at all. I mean, they made me look like a fool, or made him look whatever. They tried to make my character look like a fool, but what they did was they showed the huge difference between what they tried to do and me. So, it just gave you reason to go out and hurt people more.
How awkward was it for him? They brought you in for you to kill him. Like, how awkward is that?
I don't know. I didn't ask him. I didn't care. I just wanted him to be even quicker.